Kevin, thanks indeed for joining us. Let's get this lockdown distortion out of the way. The official unemployment rate dropping by 6 percentage points. At the end of the day, Kevin, it's that expanded rate which puts more than 10 million people out of work. That's the most relevant, isn't it?
100%, Devin. I really wouldn't focus on the strict definition. I don't think it really reflects what's happening in South Africa, and it's really just a statistical definition anomaly, if you like. It will reverse in the quarters ahead, so it's not as if the unemployment rate is going to remain at the 23%. As we move further away from the lockdown, you'll see the unemployment rate normalize to at least the level it was at previously, and critically, it's going to end up being on average higher than where it was. And I think that's really the message, coupled with the fact that we lost another 2 million jobs. And obviously, South Africa's unemployment situation has been now under pressure for a number of years. We're simply not adding jobs at a pace to meet the population growth. And so the unemployment rate will keep rising. The 23%, it's an unfortunate conclusion from the definition, but I would honestly just ignore it for the moment. It will wash out of the data.
You actually threw it to the next question, because companies are closing down, retrenchments are becoming more apparent, probably after June, so it's the next bunch of figures that may just be a better reflection of the COVID-19 damages, isn't it?
That's 100% right. So we knew that during the worst of the lockdown, there would be a significant spike in unemployment. That has happened around the world. And the loss of 2.2 million is pretty much in line with what the general estimates were. As bad as they are, that was what was kind of expected. I think what's more critical is that as you open up the economy, and we've done that now, we're at level 1 lockdown, as you open up, as you try and get the economy going, how many of those 2.2 million jobs do you reabsorb back into the economy as businesses try to get going, and perhaps as new businesses start up? And that's the critical phase. And unfortunately, we're suggesting that over a period of a year, we're going to end up losing about 1.7 million jobs, which means that by the time this is all passed, we've been in COVID is behind us, we think we're going to be net worse off about 1.7 million jobs, and clearly the country can't afford that. So the question is, what are we doing about it now, right now, in order to make the difference as we go into next year? And clearly there's not enough being done. There are some interesting discussions, infrastructure, there are various plans being spoken about, but the severity of the problem requires a much higher level of urgency from my perspective. And so I think the longer we take, the more lasting damage we're going to do.
I mean, Kevin, if you want to forecast into the future of this country, I mean, you look no further than that damaging youth unemployment rate. Because of the anomaly, we saw that fall down a bit. But even with that, we still have a staggering more than half of those working age people between the age of 15 and 24 are out of work in this country. I mean, that's a staggering figure, isn't it?
It's a phenomenal problem. So if you look at the expanded definition, and I accept that it does exacerbate the problem, but it gives you some idea of the problem. The expanded definition for youth unemployment is now at 73%. That is incredibly high, and that's the future of the country. And what we know is that as soon as somebody's got their first job opportunity and they gain some work experience, they've got a much higher possibility of staying in employment or finding a job later. The critical thing that lets South Africa down is getting people their first job opportunity. And that number, that 73% youth unemployment, explains that that's where the crux is. So as we look at trying to solve the problem, part of this has got to be, how do we get people first-time job opportunities into this economy on a broad basis, give them some real experience, and from there I think we'll be better off. Even if those people are not earning a phenomenal wage, it's about building up experience so you become more employable down the line.
Well, we have to leave it there. Kevin Lings from Stand Up. And I suppose part of the answer lies in this NETLAC plan that's due to be announced to the public, a culmination of ideas between government, labour and business. We're due to get that plan from government on the economic revival, I suppose, in the next few days.